Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Dr. Michael Tresnak, superintendent of DeLand-Weldon Schools, in studio with us. Good morning, Dr. Tresnak.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
For sure. Thanks for making the trip over and talking with us this morning. How are things in DeLand-Weldon Schools?
We're cold,
and we're getting down.
You're responsible for this cold weather. You know, you're the weather forecaster.
Hey! I do my best to stay out of that if I can. But no, it's end of the semester too. At the same time, you guys are really winding down quick. It sounds like
it's hard to believe that we're where we're at. I mean, we got this week and next week, and we're done. Our high school kids will be taking final exams, which I know they're excited about, and are studying real hard for that. You remember those days?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So they'll have that next Thursday and Friday, and then we'll be done. And they'll have a nice 2-week break.
Yeah. Believe it or not, when I was in school in Lincoln, our finals were after
holiday
break.
When I was high school down in Heron, proud Heron Tiger, when I was in Heron, our finals were always after break, and I hated that.
Yeah.
And when I was a teacher at Moline, we were after break, and we finally got it changed. I always liked that as a teacher to be done. I wanted to be done by break, so I didn't have that carrying over. So I'm glad we do it that way. I think it's better for our kids, and it matches. And then as we're doing more and more dual credits, with it's really important, I think, to try to match up with what the colleges are doing, and obviously they're ending in December also. So
Sure, very good. Well, end of the semester you mentioned comes up on the 20th. Anything on the calendar between now and then, Dr. Tresnak?
Well, tonight we have our annual winter concert, so everyone's invited to come out to the high school gym and see all our kids. And they've been practicing hard, been practicing for a long time. I got to hear them a little bit the other day as they were working with the microphones and everything in the gym, so we're excited about that. Hope to see a lot of people tonight to celebrate all the work of our kids.
Sure, so that's on the calendar tonight. Anything else going on, or is that kind of the bow on it?
That's the biggie. That's the event for now. We'll have ball games off and on, between here and next week. Be it boys basketball or girls basketball co-ops with Blue Ridge, and then we have boys elementary basketball going on. So always something.
Your high school boys or girls go to any holiday tournaments?
I believe so. Yeah, I'd have to look at the schedule exactly where they're going, but typically, yes, they do that.
Nice, very good. So a lot going on. I know after the Christmas holiday, the sports kind of keep them hopping a little bit with all those tournaments and everything. So very good. Well, Dr. Tresnak, let's do, if you don't mind, maybe do a recap of last night's Board of Education meeting. What did the board take up last night?
It was actually a quick meeting. We didn't have a lot of business. Typically in December, we would be dealing with our annual financial report, but our auditor's behind on getting that to us. I think a lot of the auditors there's a lot new regs that the state came down with, making auditors too, so they're a little bit behind, so we'll have to put that off to January, but we're kind of wanting to do that, but we weren't able to because it wasn't ready. We did agree to a contract with Architectural Expressions down in Forsyth. We will be doing a summer project where we're going to renovate the elementary, put in new ceilings, similar to what we do at the high school. We're also going to renovate our agriculture area, update the electrical. It's got 1960s electrical in it, so it's not quite what we need. Now,
is the ag program up and going this year?
Yes, we have it going. So our next step in that program is we want to renovate that space. We're going to, like I said, upgrade electrical, probably put a wall in to kind of create a classroom space in there. We're also going to put in spacing for 4 welding booths. It's something we really wanted to do. We think that that's an area that will help our kids if they can get some basic training in welding. If they really are excited about it, then they could go on to Heartland Academy to take further studies.
Gotcha.
We're also going to renovate our family consumer science area. Again, same situation. It was built back in the 50s and 60s, that area was. And we have electrical that was more designed for the kitchen of the 50s and the 60s, and the kitchen nowadays uses a lot more electricity between microwaves, toaster ovens, anything else you can think of, blenders. And so we want to upgrade that so that our kids can see. We're going to try to have like a professional kitchen for kids that are wanting to maybe go into culinary arts. They could get a start with us again, and they can end up at Heartland Academy to finish that out. But
Nice.
they can get serve safe licensure and all that. So a lot of things moving forward. So we're excited that we're able to do these things this coming summer because it's going to help our kids. It's going to give them opportunities. We're a small high school, but we're doing everything we can to give the maximum number of opportunities to our kids.
Well, I wanted to ask about the ag program, Dr. Tresnak.
Yes.
You talked about updating, the facility to accommodate that program. Is that part of whether the ag program itself has its own kind of long-term plan? Do you mind speaking to that a little bit?
Well, we're still looking at what we want to do. I have personal goals in there. If I could find someone to donate a greenhouse, we would love to have put a greenhouse in right next to that ag shop area. We recently, using some grant money, purchased brooders and incubators, and we're going to start looking at showing kids how to raise chickens. We might even look at putting in a chicken coops there, because we're out there in the middle of the country, and with the idea of how can you do some of your own sustainable farming. And along with that it'd be nice to get a greenhouse where we could show kids how to grow, be it herbs or whatever, or even if flowers or whatever, but show kids those proper techniques. So we got a lot of long-term things we want to do, but we're going to try to take it one step at a time. But like I said, if there's someone out there that wants to donate a greenhouse, we'll put a big sign on there saying donated by. Yeah,
Sure.
That's something that in the future we really want to try to do. We think that would actually have a K-12 effect. We could have our elementary kids see that, and I think it would be a lot of fun for them.
Sure. Would some of those things you're talking about fall under the strategic planning you're working on?
So as we look at our strategic plan, there are many elements in it. First and foremost is going to be curriculum, and what are we doing with our curriculum? What do we want to do in the future with our curriculum? What courses do we want to do? How can we streamline what we're doing so we get more bang for the buck? But then when you start, when you get away from the curriculum, what you realize is that to support the curriculum, you really need to look at what you're doing in your facilities. And so that's another major element of the strategic planning is structuring a facility plan that meets the needs of our kids and meets the needs of our curriculum. And then you go into, okay, how do we support this financially? So all of these are major elements in strategic planning that we're doing right now. We took a little bit of a back burner here to get through December, but we're going to be getting into it more deep in January, and trying to figure out what our next steps are and developing that long-term plan so everyone's on the same page of what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and the ag program will fall somewhere in there then, it sounds like.
Definitely. I think, we look at the ag program as a great means to provide multiple opportunities to kids. And I think that's what we have to be about. It's what high schools have to be about nowadays. It's not about preparing a kid just to go to college. It's about preparing kids to become successful parts of society. And that could be going into apprenticeship programs. That can be going in the military. It can be going and becoming a welder and making a good living and all that. And what we want to try to do is give kids a taste of that. These are the opportunities out there. We're not going to make a professional welder. We don't have that capability, but maybe a kid wants just to try it out and say, hey, let me see what I think of this, and they like it. Nothing out of their pocket at that point. Then they can go on and then follow that path.
Sure, very good. Dr. Michael Tresnak is the superintendent of DeLand-Weldon Schools, our guest in studio today on the morning show. Dr. Tresnak, you talked about the updates to the elementary side of your school buildings, kind of mirroring what you did at the high school last summer. I venture a guess that was planned?
So we're going to put the drop ceilings in, new LED lighting, which we get incentives back from Corn Belt Energy to put that type of lighting in. We're also going to look at our emergency lighting and upgrade it because it could be integrated with those fixtures. There's some areas we're going to get some paint, but at the end of the day, it's going to just clean up that space and modernize it so that it's very similar to what we have at the high school. So we're really looking forward to it. I think the elementary teachers, when they saw the high school, said, hey, this would be nice over there. And so we looked at it and said, well, I think we can do this. And so that's on the plans for the summer.
Anything else out of the board meeting last night?
Not much else. Actually, it was a short meeting. We were in and out in 30 minutes.
Sure.
It's always good to do that in a December meeting because everyone is so really busy. And I appreciate the time that our board members put into it. It's very difficult. All of our board members work very hard and and plus have kids. They're running around crazy too, so that they can give us some time and that. And like I said last night, it was good to get in and out quick, just because there's so much going on.
Sure, very good. Well, Dr. Tresnak, where do folks go to learn about all things DeLand-Weldon schools? www.dwschools.org. We're also on Facebook, so if you go to our website, you will see our Facebook feed there also. Easy enough. Very good. Dr. Michael Tresnak, Superintendent of DeLand-Weldon Schools, my guest in studio today. More to come with Dr. Tresnak on The Morning Show.
WHOW. Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Dr. Michael Tresnak is the superintendent of DeLand-Weldon Schools, our guest in studio for today. And Dr. Tresnak, I know that it's levy time in your schools, and you're in town today to hand in that levy for DeLand-Weldon Schools. What can you tell us?
We kept the levy at 5% increase in total monies. What I think our taxpayers are going to see is that the rate that we charge went down, and because our actual assessed valuations went up by about 8 to 9%, depending on which county you're in, because we feed out of both DeWitt and Piatt County, and so it's a little bit different in each county. But so we saw a decent increase in our EAV, but we capped our increase to actually 4.99%, and so that's allowing for those rates to be a little bit better, I think. And then we're obviously taking a close look at what's going to happen in the future with the wind farms coming in, because that's going to add a lot of EAV to us. I think in the long term, what our taxpayers are going to see is some relaxation on the rate, and be able to give some relief on that rate as we get those new funds available. So I think we'll have we'll be able to get more funding for the school, but at the same time be able to relax the rate a little bit.
Yeah, so for this year's levy, while the property values went up, you kept your rate the same then, and so the amount of money the taxpayer is paying is going to be less. Is that a correct assessment?
It's hard to say. It depends on the taxpayer, depends on their property. If the rate that we are charging or the rate that we're asking is less than the rate we asked last year.
Okay.
So that's the multiplier that they put on the property value to figure out how much property. So the taxpayer, let's say they saw an 8% increase in their property value, they're not going to see an 8% increase in the amount they are assessed.
Right.
It's going to be a little bit less than that because we're not assessing at our full rate.
Okay, so what they will pay is maybe not the same as what they paid last year?
They could pay a little bit more because of their value, but it's not the maximum amount that we could have gotten.
Right. Gotcha. Very good. So the levy is in for 20. Now, what is that? Fiscal year 24 or 25 for you all?
It's for based on property values that are assessed to 2024.
Okay.
But it's payable in 2025.
I see. Gotcha. Very good. And I venture a guess, you talked about that wind farm and the revenue, the added revenue coming in from that. I venture a guess, looking to the year ahead, that's probably going to be a big point of conversation in your district is how do you handle that
Sure.
influx in revenue?
And that actually is an element already in the strategic plan. We've already done projections 8 years out, 10 years out, looking at how that's going to work. We have some basic numbers, but the difficult part there is until the actual assessments come in, we really don't know exactly what we're working with. We, like I said, we have an estimate, and we can get pretty close, but it is going to be significant. It's it's just like the Clinton area has a significant value from the nuclear power plant. We're going to get a significant value from all of these wind farms.
Yeah, that's going to be a big talking point, I think, for the district and how to handle all of that and exciting possibilities with that, I'm sure.
Yeah, it could open a lot of doors for us. Again, we were talking about our ag program. This might give us an avenue to fund some things that otherwise we wouldn't be able to do.
Yes.
And that's exciting. It's exciting that we could go and do that.
Very good. Very good. Well, Dr. Tresnak, anything else kind of on your plate? I know we talked about the school board meeting last night. Sounds like you're going to have a little bit of turnover on your board. How about that?
So we are... There's 7 board members, and we have, due to some appointments in that, we will have 5 seats open at the election in April. But as of right now, and it's closed, there are only 3 petitioners. So there's only 3 people running for 5 seats. So we're going to have to look at appointing 2 more board members after that election to make a full board. We did have a question at the general election about at-large voting. Currently, DeLand-Weldon votes using congressional township format, which in the Reader's Digest version of that is that you're limited to so many board members from each township. So with that, we went to the voters because the election code said we had to because we had to appoint last time, asking if we wanted to go at large. And the voters have voted yes, they want to go at large. So in 2 years, it won't be this year, in 2 years, that's the time it takes to get everything put into place. We will be going to at large elections for our board members.
Okay, gotcha. So how will that change then impact your board, the makeup of your board? Like, do you feel like it'll make things easier in terms of finding board members to maybe fill in those 2 empty spots you're talking about?
At this point, we haven't seen an issue with the townships, but it could always be there. That's now completely off the table. It's going to be the 7, it's going to be the ones that get the most votes. So you're not having to worry about eliminating a potential person because you have too many coming from one township.
Sure.
So it really kind of cleans it all up. And, being a board member is not an easy job. The pay is terrible. There is no pay, and it's time. And so anything we can do, I think, to make it easier in the election, I think is a good move.
Sure. Do you feel like board members should be paid for their time?
That's a tough question.
It's kind of a loaded question, isn't it?
Yeah. And I don't think I'm not a board member, but so it's hard for me to speak for them. But they're not doing it for the money. They're not doing it. They're doing it for the kids. And that's why they're there. They're there for the kids. And so I don't ever see that happening.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, when it comes to Dr. Tresnak, the 2 openings on your board, I'm curious, do the fact that you have a couple of months now, there's going to be a couple of vacancies, does that give you a head start to go out and find people, to recruit people to those positions when they open up?
You and your tough questions.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was a pretty straightforward one, to be honest.
I have to, because you're talking election code and things like that. That's something I'm working with the board attorney on now.
Oh, okay.
As to when can we do what? There's, as you know, with election code, there's always strict timelines, and that I believe right now we have to seat the new board. And then we declare the vacancies at that time.
Okay.
And once we declare those vacancies, then we can put out that we're going to appoint. We have so many days to get 2 members appointed.
Okay.
If we can't get it done, then it gets turned over to the Regional Office of Education.
Okay.
So, I
apologize. I didn't realize that was such a loaded question.
I'm messing with you. I gotta have a little fun.
Okay,
with
that's
you.
cool. That's cool.
Honestly, when you get into things like that, I do consult our board attorney to make sure we are doing everything by the book and doing it right. I think if there's people that are interested, definitely they can reach out to me and we can let you know, so that when we officially and formally can start the process, then we can get that communication out to them. Though I think at this point we can't formally start that process because the election has not happened yet.
Sure. Very good.
So.
Well, Dr. Tresnak, I look at the clock. We are quickly running out of time with you today, sir. Just again, remind us some of the things coming up to wrap up the semester. I know you've got events tonight. Last day of school is next week. Just highlight the important dates on your calendar.
We will have early dismissal on the 19th and the 20th. That's 1:30 dismissals. That's for our final exams for our kids. And then the kids will be out the next 2 weeks. The Monday after New Year's, I think it's like the 5th or something.
Something like that, yeah.
We will have in-service, and then the kids come back on Tuesday.
All right, very good. Dr. Michael Tresnak is the superintendent of DeLand-Weldon Schools. My guest in studio. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance. Network news on the way.